Today, I'm joined by Rachel Crethar, a clinical hypnotherapist and RTT facilitator who helps people release subconscious patterns and reconnect with who they really are. Rachel's journey has taken her from advertising to selling crystals to hypnotherapy, a beautiful reminder that every pivot can lead us closer to purpose. I've also personally experienced Rachel's work and found it incredibly powerful. Just when I thought I'd worked on everything, so much more came up, showing me how the subconscious continues to hold beneath the surface. Welcome, Rachel. You have been such a huge part of my journey, so I'm so honoured to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this chat.
Me too. I think the listeners are going to find it really interesting. So tell me, what drew you to this type of work?
This type of work was something that came to me almost by accident in a way, because I had gone through postnatal depression after my second child and then started pouring myself into, or trying to find anything that was going to help fix me. And I tried kinesiology, hypnotherapy, yoga therapy. I was just doing absolutely everything and anything. And then once I found my new level of, I guess, my new baseline, that's when I realized this space was something that I definitely wanted to move into at some point.
So when you talk about baseline, you mean, through doing all those different modules and things that you did, you kind of found like an inner calm? Is that like
I
the
would
baseline?
say I would say what it did was it helped me strip away the not self things, the things that
Mm.
actually weren't me, that I was moving through the world as a bit of a protection that was starting to crumble. And once you add extra people and things into your life, you'll know, like, you can't, the universe forces you to start to address some of those things. So I'd say my new baseline was more me reconnecting back to me.
I love that. And I love how we've just gone deep, like straight away.
It's kind of
And
what I
it's
do,
just,
yeah.
yeah, you're talking to the right person. Sometimes you got to dig and dig, but you're just
Yeah.
like, bam. And I love that.
Yeah, I actually find small talk quite harder, or much harder these days as well, like even at the school gate or anything like that, because I'm so used to opening my laptop and connecting with someone potentially over the other side of the world and going so deep straight away.
Me too. I've got zero time for it. And I think the older I get, hitting 50, going through hormonal changes and whatnot, you do
Hmm.
kind of go, nah, I'm sick of this. This is how I'm
Yeah.
showing up now. And everyone's just got to deal with it. So, no, I love that and appreciate that. So, I've always looked for signs to know when I'm on track. How did you know? Like, what was your sign?
Well, it kind of sounds like a bit of a dogleg story, because I was in advertising for 20 years as a media strategist, and I always had this desire to have my own business. And once I'd gone through that healing and releasing and coming back to me, I actually started selling crystals online in 2015, which wouldn't sound too wacky now, but back in 2015, it felt like I was coming out of the spiritual closet. And that business did quite well, except I always had this feeling deep down I actually wanted to serve in a closer way, one-on-one with people. And also, it turns out I actually hate packing boxes and and e-commerce. So I got to a point where I just knew, you just have that niggle in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I started exploring kinesiology, and I was actually so close to signing up to kinesiology. And then I came across RTT, and I saw that the creator of RTT was coming out to Sydney. And it was just a full body, yes, gut instinct. Like, I'm doing it. That's it. That's what
Just
I'm
lit
studying.
you up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it amazing? Because I discovered you through the Rock and Co. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
when we
Yeah,
first
that was the
crossed
crystal
paths. And I
business. Yeah.
remember it's sort of your business evolving then, going, oh, wait,
Mm-hmm.
what? It's gone from that to that. And I love that because I'm always chopping and changing. But I just think that was obviously a stepping stone to the next phase, which I love. And we still
100%.
love crystals, right?
Yeah, of course. But that business was actually such a gift, because it helped me overcome the fear of being seen. It helped me be able to show up publicly, and also it connected me with so many incredible people. Like, I couldn't have gone straight from advertising to doing what I do now. It
Mm.
seems like a bit of a dog leg, but it it was such a gift in so many ways.
Yeah, it's like a higher purpose was operating behind the
Hmm.
scenes, right?
Yeah.
So, for those who haven't heard of it before, can you explain what rapid transformational therapy is and what happens in a session?
Yes. So RTT is created by a woman called Marissa Peer, and it is what she believes the best of NLP, hypnotherapy, CBT, and psychotherapy. So she's taken a lot of different modalities and created RTT. And in a session, well, see, now I've also studied past life regression and life between lives, which we can talk about another time. But my sessions are definitely based probably 80% on the RTT method, but as I've studied things over time as well, obviously I've made it a bit my own. But generally what happens in a session is we regress, someone will come in with an issue, whether it's emotional eating, whether it's a skin issue, whether it's fertility, confidence, whatever they come in with. And then we put them into hypnosis, or I put them into hypnosis, and we regress to the root cause. We regress to the beliefs that are creating this issue in their lives. So after the regression, there'll be a healing of some kind, and then I create them a new hypnosis recording that they walk away with to help rewire the brain to establish those new beliefs that are usually the opposite of what had come up in the regression part.
I remember when I first came to see you, I think it was around public speaking was the
Yes.
initial one, and I was just so terrified about it all, and
And look at you now.
now look at me. So, it's definitely been stepping stones from, doing the online courses to having to contribute to an online community and group. I found that terrifying at the time, so I fully believe that you helped with that transformation for me, and then I had a friend reach out and say, "Can you speak at my 40th?" And I was like, "What? God, no, hell no." But then it was like, I did. It was like in front of
Hmm.
about 200 guests at the Opera House, and I had to
And
do
that
this
was
speech.
about 2 or 3 weeks after our session together, wasn't
That's
it?
right. Yes. So it was all just coming like a freight train, but I did it. And
You
I
did it.
remember just before that not thinking that would be something I could ever get past, but I was
Find
determined to do it.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I find that so interesting is that quite often the universe will bring a test. Like once we've done the session, I will prepare my clients to be like, yeah, you might get invited to do public speaking in the next couple of weeks. There might be an opportunity for you to use your voice or whatever that we're working on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was expecting something a little smaller than
The Opera House.
the Opera House. But look, it was great. I'm so pleased that I did it. And then since then I've done a few more and just can sort of speak, still get nervous, but not that debilitating feeling that I had before. So, when people come to see you, what kind of patterns or belief systems are they trying to uncover usually? Like, what would be a common theme?
Well, everyone's so different and unique, but there definitely are some reoccurring themes. A lot of people feel like they don't belong or they feel different. And that can manifest in relationship issues. It can manifest in finding a job. It can manifest in so many different ways. A lot of it is I'm not smart enough, pretty enough. I'm not enough in some kind of way for whatever it is they're desiring. And the other one I see a lot, especially here in Australia, is more around that sort of that tall poppy syndrome. Like I can have this, but I can't have this. Like I can't have it all. Because if I have it
Mm,
all, I won't be liked. I won't fit in. I won't be loved.
interesting. Mm, that's quite sad, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's definitely because beliefs can be established in a number of different ways, but it can either be an experience that happened directly to you. It can be stuff that you've sort of picked up in the household that you've grown up in just by seeing mum and dad's beliefs
Hmm.
or ancestral beliefs that have come down through the line that are just so ingrained that you don't even realize that other families don't do that or think that. It can come from past lives, but they can also just come from society in the community that you grew up in or the environment that you grew up in.
But it's often formed in childhood, those sort of beliefs.
Yeah, most commonly between the ages of 0 to 7 and the reason why is because we're in something called a theta brainwave state during those years. And that's the exact same state that we take clients to in hypnosis. So between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain is like a sponge, and it's literally just trying to pick up, okay, how do I operate in the world? How do I stay safe? How do I get love? And so a lot of the times, our parents are just doing the best that they can do, but there's messages that are poured down to us on, in order for you to be loved, you need to do X, or you need to be a certain way.
It's so true.
Mm.
And I think back to years ago in my early stages of parenting, I wish I had have known all this back then. When you think of all bit of damage could have been done somewhere along the way, but I guess
Yeah.
that's their journey then, isn't it?
It is. And I do believe that they choose us. And once I studied this, I would get into, I could get into my head about this a little bit and think about the core beliefs that they're picking up, and am I doing the right? And I've just had to let it go. And I kind of say to my clients that also worry about the same thing, is like, we have no idea what they're going to go to therapy for. Like, it could be that, you put too much pressure on them, you didn't support them enough. Like, it really comes down to the child. And I also learned this I'm one of 4, and I've got 3 siblings, and I have done sessions on all of them early on in my career. And it was so interesting to see that we've had the same parents in the same household, but we all had completely different lenses on the experience. We've all picked up completely different beliefs, and mum
So
and dad
true.
So
Yeah.
it really comes down to the child itself as well, and what they're going to be absorbing.
And it's interesting because I was talking to somebody about it the other day. I grew up in a house where smacking was quite normal back in the 70s, 80s, getting the wooden spoon or the ruler or whatever it may be. And people go, gosh, that must have been really traumatic. But I don't look at that. It wasn't really traumatic. I think the most traumatic part for me was not being heard or being silenced. That was more traumatic than actually being hit with a wooden spoon, which
Yeah.
kind of doesn't sound as bad, right? I mean, the wooden spoon sounds worse than the other.
I think we underestimate the damage from emotional abuse.
Mm.
Definitely.
So, how does that awareness begin to shift things physically or emotionally for your clients when they've come in and had some sessions with you?
Different for everyone, really. And it depends what they're coming to see me for. Obviously, if a fertility client's coming, or there's a client that has a physical symptom like eczema or emotional eating, very, very quickly whether it's physical. And I love doing physical things because the client gets to see the evidence straight away. Whereas when it's with something like confidence, sometimes it can be a little bit subjective, and they might say to me things like, I feel different, but my world hasn't changed yet. It can be a sort of slower transformation. Or someone will say, oh, I was just sitting in a meeting and I stood up for myself for the first time. I didn't even realize until I went into the bathroom what I'd said. And I sort of went, oh. And so it becomes so natural almost that they sometimes underestimate the transformation.
Yeah, wow. And I guess with unhealthy eating habits, you would notice
Mm-hmm.
that pretty much straight away, right? Because we
Straight
all
away.
emotionally eat to a certain extent. But I guess somebody that really has a noticeable issue around food, that would be quite a powerful shift for them.
It is. And most of the clients that I get, I would say hypnotherapy is probably not the first answer that people will usually go. A lot of the clients I get have either tried talk therapy before, or if it's a physical symptom, they've been to specialists, they've done the creams, they've done the, and so quite often I'll be the last point of call, which is good in the sense, because I'm like, cool, the mind has already eliminated all of that stuff. So let's actually get to the subconscious, or the emotional reason as to why this is happening, so that they can have that transformation.
And I guess there is a bit of a stigma with hypnotherapy, or what people think hypnotherapy actually is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The old doing the little clock or watch on
Yeah.
a chain.
Well, and also I think people have seen on TV stage hypnosis, right? So a lot of people think that I'm doing something to them. They don't realize hypnotherapy is different to sort of stage hypnosis, and they need to be an active participant in the process.
So you speak about neural pathways. How does RTT help rewire the brain? And is there anything that we can do to help it along ourselves?
Yes, on both counts. So RTT, I describe it to people almost like the neural pathways are almost like bush tracks to the beach. Because I'm a very visual person, I think this helps describe it, is that you have just walked down a certain path over and over and over again for potentially decades. You know, some people come see me, they've been doing the same behavior or have had this thought since they were 2 or 3 and they're coming to see me in their 40s. Then they've thought and felt and taken action on that belief over and over and over again. And so what we're doing in the session is we're uncovering what the sort of the parts of that pathway are, and then we're creating a new neural pathway. So that new bush track, if you think about it, it takes a while to bed in. And so that's why I give people a recording, an audio that they can listen to on repeat, because repetition is how the brain will help support that new neural pathway. But we also need to take real life action. And so by having some kind of homework, I guess you'd say, but it depends on what the client's coming to see me for. And like I had an emotional eating client yesterday, actually. And one of her big things was she would spend a lot of time meal planning and trying to control this emotional eating. And so her homework is no more meal planning. For the next 2 weeks, she's going to eat what she feels like that day. And that is, I mean, that sounds potentially easy for some people, but for her, that was going to be a real challenge. But it was going to support the recording, it was going to support the hypnosis so that the changes happened faster for her. So action, the recording, and also I think the other really supportive thing when you're creating new neural pathways is to make sure the body feels safe. So whether that's massage, whether that's sauna, whether that's getting in the ocean, like whatever helps your nervous system feel calm and regulated, then I'd suggest doing that as well.
So just creating all these little actionable steps whilst listening to the hypnotherapy will help you get closer to the goal. And how long do people listen to the audio for?
Minimum 21 days. It takes
And
at
why
least
21?
well, the research has shown it takes at least 21 days to create new neural pathways. But I tell my clients to listen to up to the 3-month mark. And the reason why is because then you've got at least 3 months evidence for the mind that what I'm saying is true. And also there has been studies that say some neural pathways can take up to 90 days to establish themselves completely. So I want to make sure that, because some people get excited and after the 1 month together, they'll sort of say, oh, we worked on love, now let's work on money. And I'll say to them, let's just let the dust settle, 3 months on this particular one, and then work on the next thing you want to work on.
Or they may have already seen the benefits and they go, okay, that's done now. I've done, it's worked. Let's move on next. But it's
Yeah.
kind of got to stick, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a big believer in integration and letting things completely land before we sort of shake the snow globe again.
Yeah, got it. So are there people that just have resistance to hypnotherapy? And can some people simply not go into hypnosis?
You need to be a willing participant. So you need to be able to be like, yes, I'm here, let's do this.
I'm open.
Yeah, I'm open. That said, I have done, in the last 8 years, I reckon I would have done, if not 1,000, over 1,000 people. And I've probably had 2 people that couldn't. One, I remember just being so anxious, and the minute sort of she's opened her eyes, she was like, I knew this wouldn't work for me, so she'd already sort of believed
Made up her
that.
mind.
The other person, I just simply gave them their money back. I was like, that's okay. So, because it
And you have
happens
to be
so
ready.
infrequently, you have to be ready. Exactly. You can't do this because someone else has told you to do it.
Or someone else had a great experience, so therefore you should go do it because you'll have exactly the same experience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've had multiple sessions with me in different
Mhm.
programs, and you would probably vouch for the fact that every time you do it, it feels different.
And every time I do it, some like weird emotion that I've never, or not weird emotion, weird memory that I've never even thought of before has come up,
Yeah.
or a one that's played out for me before. And it's like, why is this coming up again? I'm sort of
Mm,
revisiting it again. So it's a really emotional process as well.
yeah, it
Like
can be.
when you go back, well, I know it was for me and I am a crier.
Mm.
So yeah, I
Oh,
could
me too.
Yeah, it
Most of
tends
my
to come really easily.
clients are a client.
Yeah, so which is good, but it's such a release to go back and tend to those, little girl wounded parts of yourself.
It's so important.
Mm. So do you have an extraordinary story that you can share about something amazing that happened to a client after
So
some
many.
sessions with you?
Um, One that's recent, so is top of my mind at the moment, is a client that came to see me for her career, and she thought she was coming for career and money. And then as the session unfolded, because as you would know, when you do this work, you think you're coming from one thing, but it's something else. So she was coming for career and money. At the end of the session, it was really what had uncovered was around self-love and this craving for a relationship and to feel that kind of support and love from someone else. 2 weeks later, she said, "I've got a boyfriend. You're not going to believe this. I have a boyfriend." And then 3 months later, she messaged me and she's like, "Well, we boyfriended too hard and now I'm pregnant." So,
That's amazing, isn't it? All the single
yeah.
ladies are gonna be knocking on your door right now. Um, that's amazing.
I think one of the most, and this was very early on in my career with RTT, I had an incredible older lady, and I felt intimidated when I saw the intake form. I could see that she was a retired psychologist. I saw that she had been bedridden with anxiety for multiple years. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm ready for this because I'd only just graduated. Yeah, to be able to do a psychologist and someone that had been bedridden for a long time, I thought, wow,
Also, the life experience, right?
exactly. And the life
Yeah.
experience as well. So I went in open and trusted that we were going to go where we needed to go. And it was one of the most like I still think of this session, it was the most powerful session I've ever had where it just felt electrifying. I can't explain out in any other way, but like it felt like love was moving through me and her. And the words coming out of her mouth was just from another place. And I created the recording with the words that came out of her mouth, and I spoke to her a couple of weeks later, and she said, I'm going to the shops. I'm up and about, and thank you so much." And it was just extraordinary, and it helped me get out of my head because I realized that if someone was coming to see me, that's the only the information I needed, and that they were coming to see me for a reason, and that the two of us together were going to be able to help transform whatever they're coming to see me for.
And like you said at the beginning, I think people pop into your life or things come to you for a reason at
Mhm.
different stages in our life. So that was one of those moments for you and obviously for her. Being a
Mhm.
psychologist and doing some RTT hypnotherapy, that would have been a different realm for her, no doubt. So I love that
Yeah.
story.
Thank
What
you.
about kids? Do you find that kids are receptive to hypnotherapy?
Yeah, I don't do too many kids, to be honest. I mostly do sort of women our age. I have done a few kids and they are very receptive, but I'm also really, I guess, mindful of their very, um, yeah, I guess I'm careful with kids. I
Mm.
want to know what the situation is that they're coming to see me for. I want to know what other support they have, and yeah, it's
And
different, I
to make
think.
sure that the child is generating some kind of change and not the parent wanting to
Yes.
generate the change.
Exactly. That's the main thing I think that I worry about with the kids. Like when it's an adult, they've paid for the session, they're actively here, they want to be here. And when it's a child, you know, they might not actually really want to do it. They might be doing it just to keep their parent happy. So, yeah.
Mm. So, how do emotions or old stories show up in the body, like in the skin and the gut, from your experience?
In so many similar beliefs, I'm different. you could have psoriasis or eczema literally proving I'm different.
Mm.
It's a visual representation of I'm different. If you actually go onto my Instagram account, if anyone's listening to this, I have something on my in my feed called psoriasis case study, I think it's called, and you can actually see the images of a client that I worked with, and hers was all around past life, like stuff came up for her, and the transformation, you can literally see the skin difference within weeks. And she'd had
That's amazing.
eczema, actually. Sorry, I think it was eczema. She'd had it her whole life.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm such a believer of that. When people get acne or eczema and everyone just wants to put something on topically to try and fix it straight away, right? The Band-Aid effect. But it really fascinates me what is going on underneath with those old stories or just sadness that's
Yeah.
blocked or covered up. And so have you noticed a big difference with skin and acne, not
I've
just
noticed a
eczema and so.
lot difference, yeah, with skin and acne. Actually, I did have an acne client last year, and she had an incredible impact. But if you think of the mind gut connection, like it's
Mm,
no surprise that your gut health is like, it's kind of chicken and egg. I know it's happened to me before where I'm like, the gut's upset and so I'm not feeling great mentally, or not feeling great mentally and then the gut gets upset.
then yeah. Yeah. And it can change at any given time.
Yes, it can. And it can
Mm,
be something physical that starts, it can be a parasite, or it can be something environmental, but then triggers the brain stuff. So you need to be working on both.
mm. And what about with money? Many people have blocks around money or old belief patterning around money, how their parents spoke about money, what they believe about money. Do you have a lot of people coming to see you regarding finances and money?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of money. I do a lot of visibility stuff because sometimes they're quite linked. You're not
Mm,
wanting to show up and show your face publicly for your business. It's obviously going to impact your money. But sometimes you're right. The money stuff can come from our parents, watching our parents and how they interacted with money. Some people, I did do one client as well where he was actually fine financially, but he said that all I do every day is open the apps or my share portfolio or my bank account multiple times a day because his anxiety about it was driving him to continually look at the app, even though he was absolutely fine. So even sometimes people with money still have money blocks that they want to get rid of.
because I guess they're trying to sort of sustain it, right? If they've got it, how do they keep it there? And then it
Yep.
becomes that panic of it slipping through their fingers or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I think my mum used to say, "Money doesn't grow on trees, you know."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Really?
That's such a common one, isn't it?
Isn't it?" Must have been that generation. So,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think for some people it's safety as well. So, if they feel unsafe within themselves or not feeling like that if they made it, it would get taken away from them, that can create this level of instability when it comes to money.
Mm, interesting. So, working on ourselves, whether it be through therapy, body work, kinesiology, it can often feel overwhelming. What advice would you give someone who wants to start but doesn't know where to?
Get a word of mouth recommendation. I used to go around and try different things and go into someone in a shopping center and have some Reiki. I would never do that now. My energy is so precious, and I've seen some people go through things that they didn't need to go through because they didn't get a word of mouth recommendation, and also for me, if someone's coming to see me one-on-one, I'll always recommend a connection call first. Like, just because I've been great and referred to from your friend, you need to feel into, like, let's have a Zoom call and feel into whether I'm the right person for you specifically.
Absolutely. And I think it can really go drastically wrong if you don't have that right person. It can often do more damage than good, right?
Yeah, and this is your subconscious and your energetic body. Like, you need to be careful with who you allow into that space.
I'm definitely like that. It has to be word of mouth. You just know, right? I'm a
Mhm.
feeler and I have that knowing and intuition
Yeah.
straight away. But I guess for those newbies going on that self-discovery reconnection journey, it can often be overwhelming. So yes, I think that's a
Mm.
good place to start is through a referral. So for people who feel skeptical or scared going deep, Rachel, what helps them feel safe or open during the process?
Well, once again, I'd say have a connection call. Make sure
Mm.
that you feel comfortable with the person because this is a trust exercise essentially. So you're going to have to trust me in the process that I've got you or anyone else that you're working with. Um, and yeah, that would be the number one thing I would say. Make sure you've met the person, spoken to the person, or had some kind of connection with them that you feel that you can trust them to completely go deep with.
Mm. That's great advice. I like to close with some similar questions at the end of each
Mhm.
episode. What are some of the ways that you reconnect with yourself each day?
I'm a huge fan of meditation. I'm a Vedic meditator. I have been since 2016, so almost 10 years. So I love meditation. But this year, actually, maybe not the whole year, the last 6 months, I've really loved journaling. So I have started with just a very simple question on how can I be in devotion to my higher self or my soul today? Or how can I be in devotion to my community? Or how can I be in devotion to source? So it might sound a bit trippy for some people, but for me, it's really helped me anchor into myself. What does my soul need today? And it's interesting to hear the answers as I'm journaling. It'll be the most simple things. Have your lunch outside, get some sun, go for a walk. It's listen to some music, dance, whatever it might say. It is the simplest of things that your soul needs that day.
I really think that journaling is underrated. I think it's such a powerful tool, and I do it a lot myself. I did Vedic meditation years ago, but I found just the 20-minute, two times a day, I found that
Yeah.
difficult to attain. But I get so much out of journaling.
Mm.
And like you said, if you don't know where to start, it's just often a question or you
Yeah.
write a statement and see what follows.
Yeah. Because I used to do the morning pages where it was just free stream, 3 pages or 15 minutes of free stream. But I have found this repetitive question a really, really interesting way to start. And definitely something I'm going to be continuing into next year.
Because it sounds like it's very different every day, even though you're asking the same question.
Same question. And I will actually, and this might not be for everyone, but I'm really always curious as to like what needs releasing mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, or what do I need to add mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and seeing what comes up. Uh,
Oh, I'm going to try that. I like that.
yeah. Yeah.
And what season of life do you feel you're in right now, Rachel?
This year has been one of feeling like breaking things down and like almost like a Lego thing where I'm like breaking it down, rebuilding it a bit here, rebuilding it a bit there. I'm excited about 2026. I feel like that my new Lego home will be completely built by February, March. And I've changed my packages a bit so that I'm working more consistently with clients that I love over a 12-month period because we can do work together each quarter based on their quarterly goals. And that's feeling really exciting for both me and all the people that have signed up.
How exciting. I love it. I feel like each year that you start again, you've always got something new and exciting in the new year.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
I've known
Maybe,
you, you've had different
probably.
packages along the way, so it's always exciting. I've done a few
Thank
of them
you.
now. So what does living from the inside out mean to you?
Connecting with yourself every single day before you go out into the world, whatever that is for you, whether it's journaling like we've spoken about. For some people, it's doing laps of an ocean pool. For some people, it's a walk. Everyone is different, but connecting with you before you get sort of pulled into many different directions, that's living inside out for me.
And especially as a mum, we always get pulled in lots of different
Hmm.
directions, right? The alarm clock goes off and we've hit the ground running. So just having, even 15 minutes a day doing something, like you said, being in nature, journaling, going for a walk, sitting outside with your laptop, doing the work, just sort of honoring those parts of ourselves to reconnect is really important.
So important. Yeah, I find reconnect or having some sort of connection point with yourself each day is the one thing that's going to keep us all sane in this crazy world we're living in right
Crazy
now.
world, so especially
Yeah.
this time of year.
Hmm.
The road rage is hectic out there at the moment with
Yeah.
Chrissy coming up. So, if you could give one message to every woman about self reconnection, what would it be?
Make it your number one priority.
Yes, love that. No excuses. You just have to.
You just have to, because no one else is going to make it a priority for you. And everything comes from that space. I can feel it the minute that I'm not connected with myself. Everything else goes to disarray. And once I plug in and I stay connected to myself, everything else just flows. Or
Mm,
you handle it better, right?
100%. And often you can see it in other people as well, right? That disconnect. You can sort of, when people are in that space of not being in their bodies.
It makes everything easier. Decision making is easier. You feel less decision fatigue, interactions with others, even if it's uncomfortable or, some kind of confrontation, you're coming from your anchor rather than some other ego place.
So great. Rachel, thank you for sharing your story and the depth of your work today. You have such a beautiful way of helping people reconnect to those parts of themselves that they've forgotten. Where can people find you if they want to explore your work?
Thank you. It's been so lovely connecting with you and seeing you and having this chat. My website is just my name, rachelcrethar.com, and my Instagram handle is also my name, at Rachel Crethar.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.